welcome to the Wild Flow podcast with me, Charlotte Puanto, an award-winning menstrual cycle coach and priestess, and the founder of First Moon Circle School. I guide women to honor and embrace their sacred cycles in their life, leadership, and business. Let's say hi to more ease and flow by co-creating with your body, and goodbye to struggle and burnout. This podcast features soul-enriching conversations, inspiring you to love your cycle, lead as a sacred leader, and grow a life and business that serves you by harnessing cyclical life and business practices. Join me and other change makers, thought leaders, and wise women to embrace and embody your wild flow. Hello, beautiful, and welcome back to Wild Flow Podcast. It's been a little while between episodes, and it's nice to be back. I have missed you, and I have missed creating these episodes, yet also I've really needed and really enjoyed the break. It's been a few months now since I last recorded an episode, and I've had the entire of summer off, which has been such a beautiful reprieve. I really committed to taking the summer off to be really present with my children. And I did. I did that. I didn't work hardly at all, like maybe just the occasional little task here and there, but very, 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 very few and far between over the entire of December and January. And it was just what I needed. And I really needed to enjoy that summer. And my youngest child just started at pre-kindy at the start of February. And so I knew that she was home for that time with her bigger sisters, and that we had a big holiday planned over Christmas and New Year's. And we went up to Queensland and to Byron Bay. We went to the Woodford Folk Festival with a group of friends. And for the first time, we felt like we just had a real holiday, a real summer holiday. We've just not done that for years. We'll normally visit family for a few days, but not have an actual holiday. And so over those 2 months, I really did just switch off, and it was such a beautiful thing to be able to let go entirely. It was felt in some ways like having a winter where you kind of hibernate and you let go, and then you come back in the spring to grow some seeds and to start again. But I feel like I've done that in reverse with summer, and just really enjoyed the joy and the presence and the beauty and the connection time of summer. And so when summer holidays ended, it really did actually take me another few weeks to get back into this idea of working. And now, as I'm recording this, it's very early March. So I feel like I've not worked so much since November. And last year felt really beautiful. I had some incredible opportunities. I worked on some incredible projects. I felt really full and enriched, and also quite tired. It's interesting. I don't work hard, actually. I don't work hard. I don't work much. I work part-time. I have 3 days. I do some evening Zooms, but and I occasionally do weekend circles, maybe once every 6 weeks, 7 weeks or so. However, with my family, with life in general, I've been feeling really tired, really depleted, and I felt like I really, really needed that rest. And so even when I was coming back into this new year, I felt like I just really needed some time to be present with myself in February, and to nurture myself, and to really vision like it coming out of a winter time, even though it's summer for us, to really vision into this year of how I wanted it to be, how I wanted to feel, how I wanted to look after myself. And I have been really looking at what my family needs, who we are, what our kind of the way our brains work, and there's some suspected neurodivergences there. And just really deciding, okay, I haven't been working much. I've always taken good care of myself, and still my capacity feels a bit smaller than usual. And so, how can I honor that as I go through the year? It's been really interesting. February felt like a month of procrastination, a real hesitancy to jump into work. And I was really trying to discern whether it was a longing to just still be on holiday or whether there was more to it. And I actually ended up spending that month doing some real deep reflection work on where my business is at, because it has grown and evolved, and I have evolved, eternally shapeshifting. I'm really passionate about cycle wisdom, obviously, but within that, there's a few areas that I am, supremely interested in. And I find it hard sometimes to juggle these different focuses. So obviously all under the super niche umbrella of cycle work. But, I have my first moon facilitator training, which did start in February. And we've had incredible women, about 25, 26 women from around the world. And I love to teach them how to be menstrual educators, how to host circles, how to facilitate rites of passages for young people, for their mums, and to step into that real role of menstrual educator and rite of passage, almost celebrant in some ways. That side of this work deeply inspires and fulfills me. But I also really love womb wisdom and womb rituals and guiding ceremonies. And I've been stepping very much into my priestess work this year with some deep training that I'm undertaking. I'm doing 2 streams of training with Priestess Presence and Elaine Kalila Doty, who is based in America. And I'm doing both the inner journey program with them, which is deeply transformational alchemical work, very, very intensive. And I'm up at the absolute now with the clocks change, I'm up at 5 a.m. for Zoom calls, which is, if you know me, I'm not a morning person. So let's see how this goes. But I'm deeply committed. Um, so doing this deep, deep, deep inner work as we move through 13 phases of the goddess, and I'm able to really push myself gently though, but really hold myself through this process, which is really rooted in love, compassion, beauty, in very much in the light work. Whereas a lot of work I've done before has been very rooted in the shadow work. So this is a beautiful bridge between the two, and it feels so expansive while still very challenging. But I'm also doing a second stream with them, which is temple guiding. So being initiated as a priestess, temple guide. And as I say, I already host ceremonies and have been doing for over 5 years. And it's very much a part of who I am. I'm a mystic, a ritualist, a space holder. I'm very much believe in holding, crafting, creating, leading these ceremonial spaces where we can walk in just as we are, but leave changed and reconnected, and to have deeply devoted to ourselves. So there's that part of my work too. And then the other part that's really been coming through is as I've been on this entrepreneurial journey myself as a coach and growing a business that can actually sustain me to be able to do this cycle work, um, is really working with the cycle and the seasons and creating a framework of my own so that I can do business, but not do it in the way that I see everybody else doing it. So as I learned to be a coach and did some business training and have done various courses and masterminds with lots of different people who have all been very women and living lives as women, identifying as women. And what that brings means that I think that a lot of us, when we become coaches or work for ourselves, is we want to do things on our own terms and at our own paces. But I still see so many women replicating what they've learned in corporate, when they're in their previous work environments, where it's, we put all the effort in because growing a business is hard and it is demanding. And it does require hours and hours, and it does require us to take on as many clients as we possibly can, and create everything all at once, and um, do these energetic work, and the mindset work and all the strategic work, so that we can grow as fast as we can and make the most money that we can. And I've just always felt really like, well, that's great, and I'm ambitious, and I'm here for that, but I also really reject the idea that we have to be on the go all the time. And I really have found myself being someone who's in spaces and kind of going, well, no, yes, I can do that, but I'm actually going to allow a bit of time before I implement that, because it's not the right time of my cycle. Or, well, I'm in the season of motherhood, and actually I've got a lot going on and my capacity is diminished because of what I need to give to my family. Um, or, okay, I could implement that strategy, but it doesn't feel deeply aligned with me. And it still feels quite hustly. So actually, I'm just going to really I take on your advice, but I'm just going to really sit with what feels true for me, and see if I can find a way of doing this that honors me, and it feels true. It feels like it's a whole body yes for me. And how can I work with my cycle? And how can I do the mindset work based on where I'm at in my cycle? Because it definitely changes. So over time, I found myself supporting women with this more and more and more, as we've done that deeper inner healing, underworld, releasing all of those fears and mindset blocks, and rediscovering our cycle and our rhythms, and really tuning into, okay, what's there for us, so that we can break free of our trauma patterns, so that we can love ourselves and accept ourselves, and know that we are, normal, and that we have permission, give ourselves permission to use our voices and to speak our truth. And then once we've done all of this deeper embodiment healing work, it's okay, right? I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to put my magic out there. I'm ready to go forth. I'm ready to land all of these things that I've been visioning for so long into reality. So how do I do that in a way that doesn't just see me tip straight back into overwhelm and burnout and um, patriarchal capitalist systems of ways of working? How can I really do that by honoring my cycle and trusting my own pace, so that I can be sustainable? I can be truly aligned with my values, so that I can welcome abundance, but it doesn't have to be hard. And that can feel easeful and supported. And so this idea of cyclical business has been absolutely coming through for me as well. And so as I've been really, really sitting with the fact that, I have these different passion areas, and um, as I've evolved, and as my clients have evolved, and as I speak to that more and more, then obviously my audience and community changes too. So I've been doing a lot of work around, okay, well, I'm not there anymore. I was, and things have changed. So where am I now? And what is most of service to my community, and what feels true for me? And I know that I have to create and lead and do things that feel deeply aligned and true for me. Yes, of course, I have to consult the market and do that research and check that, what I want to create is actually what people want. But if it's not something that deeply inspires me, then I just can't do it. It's just the way I am. It's the way that my body works. It's the way that my energy works. And so trying to find that gap, or not gap, but that overlap of what do I actually want to do and create this year? What's in alignment? What's in service? What is a match for, this kind of next level self that I've been embodying and moving towards and opening to, but perhaps hadn't quite realized that I was. And so I've been really refining all of this, and allowed myself that month of February, after my kids went back to school, to reflect on all of that and to do that foundational work. And now that feels really clear. I feel like I can get on with my year and get going. But I just think that, if I had been taking my success measures from corporate or from, what most people will tell you. That's when you start getting that feeling of being behind, um, wasting time, procrastinating. And it's like, well, okay, it might seem like that, but if we're taking out all of those external timelines and actually coming into trusting my own timeline, yes, for sure, I've felt myself wanting to procrastinate really, really hard, but with some loving accountability and understanding of the way that my body works, my brain works, my cycle works, actually, like, haven't I just taken some really important downtime in order to help me just flow more easily later? I feel like that's really true for me. And as it was with my cycle in February, I spent the follicular phase doing this research time and then got really, really clear on something that I've been wanting to make. And I actually made a quiz and it was so much fun to make. So I got to really enjoy and play in that inner springtime. And then at full moon, I put it out there into the world, which is just absolutely like full moon ovulation vibes. And then over that autumn time, I got to really kind of sit back and reflect and refine and go, okay, like how's this working for me? How's it working for my community? And then that's really informed where I'm going to go in this new cycle. So we had new moon 2 days ago, and we had the start of my bleed 2 days ago. So it's cycle and lunar day 3 today as I record this. And I'm just feeling that real tenderness. I'm sat here recording with my eyes closed to just block out all distractions and everything that could um, distract me, confuse me, sway my focus. And it just helps me to really tune into my inner world as well. And so I feel like, with this new moon, this new cycle energy, I'm going to be able to really clearly bring forth and manifest some of these plans and projects that have been cooking away in my cauldron for quite a while now, for the entire of the summer period, that's for sure. And now it's autumn, it's time to start harvesting. So, why am I sharing this with you today? Because I want you to listen to this and tune into if this feels true or resonant for you in any way as well. Because I know so many of you have families, many of you, most of you have a menstrual cycle. And I know that you all desire to live and work in more cyclical ways. And, with January, it's all about resolutions and getting started, and we hustle, hustle, hustle. But research shows that by February, about 80% of New Year's resolutions have been bailed on already because they weren't deeply aligned, they weren't embodied, they weren't really thought through. They were shoulds, they were external pressures. Oh, you should do this and I should do that. And so I'm going to set this huge, lofty goal that's not sustainable and it's not rooted in any kind of compassion or reality. And I think that we can get into this first quarter of the year where we start to feel like, oh my gosh, I've either got to go hard or I've failed or I'm just wasting time. And I actually just want to share this alternative perspective because I think it's really important and powerful to have another way, another view, another example of somebody, and not just me, but of a way, of a framework or a process for trusting that, the rhythm that you're working at doesn't need to be fast all the time. We can slow down to speed up, to jump forwards, to leap forwards. And that actually, having these circuit breakers or spending this time doing the visioning and the planning and the strategizing and getting really clear is really, really important when we're growing a business or creating just the life that we really want to live, that we love as well, is going to be of the biggest service to us. All the mainstream narratives are about just diving straight in, getting on with it, suck it up, push on, override. And I just really want to invite you to take a moment. So if you feel like you started this year on like really, really fast and you're kind of going, oh, I don't really know what I'm heading for, I didn't do that clarity, get that clarity piece sorted, or if you're feeling actually really exhausted, I just want you to know that it's okay. And if you also have been having a more easeful, gentle entry into the year too, I just really want you to know it's okay. It's more than okay. It's beautiful. You're doing yourself such a service by taking some downtime. So we're approaching the equinox next week in about 10 days from now. So it depends when you're listening to this, but it's the autumn equinox in the southern hemisphere, the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, and the equinox is about equal light and dark balance. It's about harmony. And so with this energy, whether your energy is ascending as you're coming into spring or descending as you're coming into autumn, just take this moment to reflect. Where are you in balance? Where are you in alignment? Where are you pushing too hard or avoiding and procrastinating? Feel into the difference between self-loving patience and visioning and allowing yourself this gentle entry and versus fear-based procrastination, because that is the opposite. So where are you? Where can you find balance in this? Can you take the time maybe with your next bleed? And we're just past new moon here. So, for this sort of time, we can use this energy over this portal of March to really feel into what's going to serve us to be our most sustainable across the whole year. What practices or strategies or just reframing success or schedules, even, what can we do to shift the way that we go about our day-to-day life to be more better paced, to take this approach that's going to sustain us for the long term, so that we are deeply focused, so that we are working smarter and not harder. And so that's my invitation to you. Now, if you haven't taken said quiz yet, I want to tell you a little bit about that. It's my cyclical leadership style quiz. And it's an archetypal quiz, which I just love. Love all things archetypal. There's such a beautiful way to get a reflection into ourselves, so that we can see parts of ourselves reflected back. They illuminate different aspects of ourselves so that we can see ourselves more clearly and more deeply, including our light, our shadows, and our gifts and our challenges. I've been working with cyclic archetypes, especially for a few years now. And as I've just described, I've been really practicing and refining and embodying cyclical ways of living and working because I really care about growing and making an income. But I don't want to do it whilst working really hard. I want to be aligned. I want to be impactful, but without just, shooting my energy everywhere just for the sake of being busy. So I made this quiz to help you discover what your primary cyclical archetype is, because when you tap into your archetype, you get a free, like 9-page or something, playbook that I've created for each of the 4 archetypes. And in it, it explains what the predominant archetype is and how she shows up in your life, in your creativity, and in your work. And with that, which parts of this archetype, so the light and the shadows, you might be holding back by inhabiting and embodying this archetype. So where are you holding back? What kind of mindset struggles and energy struggles and strategic struggles might you be coming up against typically for you? And so what kind of solutions are there that are tailored to your archetype? Because what's going to work for one archetype is going to be different for another. So what your kind of downfall is, in a way, your Achilles heel, and then how to protect against it and work around it. And also with the light side, where to find your magic, your soul gifts, how you can be a really impactful, sacred, feminine leader by embodying this archetype. So how you can work in your business, how you can work with other people, where you shine. Are you predominantly someone who, needs to be around others, just to give a little hint? Or are you somebody who is deeply connected to their own vision and their inner knowing, just for example? So you get these 4 playbooks that really, really break down so much. And what's really cool is actually we have all 4 of these archetypes within us. So one will be your primary one, your dominant, and then the other 3 will be sub archetypes. And also, these archetypes are linked to seasons of the menstrual cycle. So when we understand what our primary one is, we can go, oh my gosh, that's so me. And so many people have been taking this quiz and messaging me going, oh my gosh, I feel so seen. That's just wild. That's so me. But then also, learning what these other archetypes are so we can see when they pop up in the different phases of the menstrual cycle, how that wants to work with and co-create with the primary archetype so that we can bring in these different strategies and mindset and energy practices and ways of doing business and leading based on where we're at in our cycle, because it absolutely changes. And I just really want more and more people, especially women who are running their own businesses, to remember that and to honor that and to lean with that, because that I strongly, firmly believe and see so much evidence of. That is how we grow an amazing business where we get to be fulfilled, where we get to make the money that we deserve. And when women make money, we spread it around and we do incredible things with it. We change our communities, we change the world, we give it to people who need it, we empower others. There's no shame in wanting to make money. I just want to throw that in right now. Um, and we also get to do it whilst being mothers, whilst being carers, which, I know it's a bit of a stereotype, but it's absolutely true. So many of us are caring, nurturing others, whether it's a community, whether it is children and family. We are giving of ourselves. And so, if you're in this season of life where that's really you, then you might feel like, oh, I just can't do business. I can't jump into my career, my passions. I've just got to wait till I'm out of that season. And that's absolutely beautiful and fine if it is. But I also just want you to know that it's possible to do something without being superwoman. Like, there's no hero badges here. To do something that's impactful in that season of life without burning out, whilst it not being a hobby. So you diving in with 2 feet into the CEO of your business, and making it work, because we can take this cyclical approach. We're redefining what success means to us. And when we flow with our cyclic energies and the seasons and cycles of life and the earth, then we flow so much better. It's about being really intentional with where we place our energy rather than just throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. So if you haven't taken this quiz, I highly recommend you go do it. I'm going to pop the link in the show notes, but otherwise it's charlottepuanto.com/quiz. Go do it. Go see what your primary archetype is. Get your playbook. So you've got this beautiful PDF. You can keep it, you can print it, you can download it, you can refer to it. And I would just love to hear from you. You can drop me an email or DM me on Instagram at charlotte.puanto.coach and let me know how this resonates with you. And then if you're keen to find out what these 3 other archetypes are and how you can work with all of them, how they feed into your menstrual cycle, how to really support yourself and take this really beautiful, powerful, but pretty simple, actually, cyclical approach to business, I've recorded a class, a master class. It's called Your Cycle, Your Business Superpower. And I'll pop the link in the show notes too. You can go ahead and grab that. And I'm also going to be bringing this later this season, a cyclical business mastermind for people who really are like done with old paradigm, hustle hard, like pushing on, pretending we're not cyclical ways of working. And I'm going to be guiding women in a space where we're all on the same page. We share the same values. We have the same desires to work this way. I'm going to be guiding you to grow your business and your leadership and your impact and your income by tapping into your cycle. I've got a wait list growing. I'm going to pop that link in the show notes too. If you're in the UK and you're loving what I'm sharing about, I'm going to be hosting a Sacred Cyclical Business Retreat on Saturday, the 18th of May, down in the Yurt at Bisley in Woking in Surrey. and you're invited. In this day-long retreat, we're going to be really looking at how you can grow your sacred cyclical leadership style. So based on the quiz result, particularly, and working with all of those archetypes, but how we can bring in the mindset and the strategy to grow a deeply aligned and soulful business by working with our cycle and taking that cyclical seasonal approach. So really doing some of that inner work to help us to grow outwards. I'm really excited. I've got some beautiful practices, some strategy work, and the energetic work too, to help us to really tap into our inner sacred leader so that we can bring our magic into the world. You're going to leave that day feeling really clear, really grounded, really expanded and strong, and knowing exactly where you're headed for the next quarter as you're growing your business. So whether you've got a business already, whether it's in the growth season, the beginning, or whether it's fully established, and you're really looking to get clear again, or to take a more cyclical way of working into consideration, or whether at this point your business is just a dream, it's a seed, it's becoming, now's an awesome time to do this foundational work and take this approach into the way that you start and grow your business. So you can get all the details for this event in the show notes as well, and also on my website under events. In England, I'm also hosting the day after a wild womb retreat, which is all about connecting with and journeying with our womb as oracle, as guide, as wisdom keeper. So looking at our rites of passages and doing some womb healing and embodiment journeying work as well. So it's going to be a really luscious temple day and ceremony. So if you come to both events, there's currently a 20% discount as a bundle if you purchase tickets to both days. And there's payment plans as well to help spread that cost. So the 17th and 18th of May down in Bisley in Surrey, the Sacred Cyclical Business Retreat on the Saturday, the 18th, and the Wild Womb Retreat on the 19th. If you're in the UK, there's also people looking to fly in from nearby in Europe. So if you're nearby too and you fancy joining me in real life, in person, so that we can breathe the same air and hug and really be together and share magic, then come along. I would freaking love to see you there. It's going to be my first trip back to the UK since 2019, and who knows when I'll get back there again. So go check it out. My website, charlottepointo.com/events. It's under the calendar tab on my website. If any of this interests you, just come along, find the links in the show notes, and I cannot wait for you to dive in. Thank you so much for joining me on the season return of Wildflow Podcast. I am so excited you're here. Thank you, and until next time. Thanks so much for listening to Wildflow. I love having you here and hope you loved this episode. If you did, please show your love by leaving a rating and review, and share your fave episodes with your cycle and biz sisters and those who haven't yet discovered the power of their body and cycle. This is how we collectively create change and heal the sisterhood. It makes such a difference. Thank you for sharing. Haven't discovered your cyclical leadership style yet? Take my free Much Love quiz now to receive your free in-depth playbook on how to up your sacred leadership, grow your business, and thrive by embodying your cyclical archetype. Go to charlottepointo.com/quiz now. Until next time, be devoted to your body as guide and your cycle as oracle.